A suburban Texas home turned into a house of horror. Police officers were called to the property in Tyler after this man, 25-year-old Christopher Lee McEwen, told an emergency dispatcher that he was cooking his murdered ex-wife.
I can't bear it. He's so ruined.
Was being abused in part of these rituals in a mind-controlled state, because there's no question whatsoever that when you talk to the people I talked to, that Princess Diana was one of the victims of mind control. And her role was to had her genes to the Windsors, because if we want to get really bizarre, the Windsors are not, like these Illuminati bloodlines in general, are not the same DNA as the rest of the global population. They need an infusion of human genetics to hold the balance of their DNA between the human and what they really are, which is actually not human as we understand human. And what was happening, as Christine Fitzgerald, this close confidant of Diana for 9 years, explained to me, was that the genes of the Windsors were getting too imbalanced to the non-human side. And it was going to become clear within a very few generations that they weren't all that they seemed to be. And what they needed was an infusion of human genes. And as I've written in my books for years, and so many insiders have told me, and others, the key genetics that these people like to interbreed with are blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. Now, where did I hear that before? Oh yes, Hitler's master race. And they want to preserve this master race because they need to keep interbreeding with that genetics. So what happens? they bring Diana in. What does Diana say in her accounts that she allowed to be published in various books? That once the children were born, Charles basically was saying to her, "That's it."
Years ago, Don Henry was an electronics engineer.
Whether or not I like it or not, but I do. I have become, I guess you'd say, the face or sort of a role model for my community.
Don is now the modest figurehead of America's flourishing vampire culture, now spread over nearly 80 cities.
I'm not afraid of crosses, and I have normal needs like everyone else.
However, some of them claim that they do drink blood from consenting victims.
Do you drink blood?
Yes, I do.
What happens to you when you take it from somebody?
I feel invigorated.
And how do they feel?
Drained.
I do consume human blood. There is a real live community that exists not only within the States, but also throughout the world.
They need an infusion of human genetics to hold the balance of their DNA between the human and what they really are, which is actually not human as we understand human. They need an infusion of human genetics to hold the balance of their DNA between the human and what they really are, which is actually not human as we understand human.
The Canaanites also practiced the eating of human flesh as a part of their occult rituals. In fact, the very word cannibalism comes from Canaan and the demon god Baal, another one of the Canaanite deities. The practice of child sacrifice continues down through the ages, and it's carried out all over the world, with reports surfacing from time to time of child kidnappings and pedophile rings and satanic ritual abuse connected to shadowy groups. The prevalence of such crimes are almost certainly much more widespread than we have been led to believe by the scant reporting in the controlled mass media. For example, the thousands of children turning up missing who vanish every year, many certainly victimized by the international child sex slave industry, the snuff film industry, and used for child sacrifice. On this note, it should be known that the practice of abortion is a form of child sacrifice ritual. Practitioners of Satanism believe that by conducting child sacrifice, they're not only pleasing their god Satan, but they're unleashing satanic power into the world, giving themselves the power.
His argument was that Diana was pregnant, and everybody knew that.